how are you?
Welcome to our second
Video, second episode.
Second episode of This is the Rugby Breakdown, the Argentine Rugby Breakdown.
Correct.
I'm Flore.
I'm Pato.
And today we're going to talk about the first Super Rugby game of Jaguares, Jaguares against Lions.
Yes, we're going to be reviewing that match. We were on the stadium. We shared some pictures and videos on our social media, especially on Instagram.
Yeah.
And what we're going to talk about what we saw, what our impressions were about this first game of the season for the team.
First of all, I think it was a very good decision to change the time to 8 p.m. because it was a very, very hot day, and even we arrived at the stadium like at 6 p.m. and it was still very hot. So I think it's a very it's a nice thing to change it to later, so the players don't get that tired and it's not exhausting and they can recuperate for next week's games.
Yes, I think it was good for the players, for both teams to play with a mild weather, well, not as warm as it was before, and also for the spectators. For us, it was better to be able to watch the game in those conditions instead of at 4 p.m. when we will be just soaking wet and
like
very uncomfortable.
30-something degrees.
30, yes.
So
Let's start.
Let's start talking about the game. You start.
Okay. We on our review of the preseason, we gave a tentative starting lineup. We were almost spot in the money. We were spot on. Yes. The difference is Carreras played fullback.
And Carreras,
They switched positions. So if I'm not mistaken, the team was Vivas, Montoya, Medrano, Petit Paulos, Kremer, Gorrisen, and Lezana,
Cubeli and Tito Bonilla, Juan Chimalia and Tute Moroni, and on the backs
Carreras, Deli, and Boffelli.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the starting lineup.
Yes. At the beginning, I think Tito had an injury. He was injured, so he had to leave like at minute number 2.
Something like that.
And so Mingo Miotti replaced him, and he did very well. I think at the beginning both teams were trying to get rhythm. It was the first game for both, first game of the season. Both had new players coming in, and they are just adjusting to what is the team now and what the difference with last year. So that's what we saw in the first half. A lot of mistakes. Jaguares made a lot of handling errors and
many penalties.
Yes, and many penalties. And that's something we didn't see like last year. So it was like, okay, what's going on here? For me, Lezana didn't play that well. He's not a natural 8, so he's not comfortable in that position.
I think the same.
And yeah, I think that's the lowest of the team in the first half. What do you want to say?
I think yes. Yes. I think that the team started kind of a little nervous. They were kind of going too fast and not kind of syncing correctly. They're missing some passes. They were kind of They were really excited, but they were overexcited, and they were not kind of timing things correctly. That's why they made lots of penalties, and they were kind of rushing into things. Exactly, they were rushing into things instead of going in the pace with a rhythm.
But still, we could see they were better than the Lions.
Yes, they were trying more stuff. They were dominating stuff, and the Lions were kind of scrambling in defense and taking advantages of the mistakes that Jaguares did. Just like the Lions try was a complete mistake of the Jaguares. They were completely unbalanced. They were all the players on one side of the field instead of the other, and they well, there was no. They had all the place for
Yeah.
the Lions players to run to the in goal. So I think they started that way, which I believe is normal for the first game, especially a team like Jaguares, where they were having some players that played a little bit last season, a couple of minutes, a couple of games, but didn't have that much experience,
Yeah.
which we're going to name the players later. So I think it was going to happen. That I think it was normal to happen. And if we remember that last year first game against Lions again, Jaguares made lots of mistakes, but they continue making all of the mistakes during the whole match.
80 minutes.
Yeah, the 80 minutes, and even worse mistakes than today. Today they made mistakes, but they knew what they were doing. Out of the comments that the players made, they all the time they felt that they knew what they had to do. Yes.
They knew where they were going, but they were going faster than they should, and not in sync, like not
Yes.
synchronized.
Yes.
But that changed on the second half.
Mhm.
They went back to the field, and they started playing differently and more strategic. And then we had
The yellow card.
The yellow card.
I think the
Kremer's yellow card.
Yes.
We are not going to discuss about the rugby, or
the referees.
the referees. Yeah,
Yes,
we're not
yes.
going to say a lot of things about them, because it's a very common thing in Argentina. Blame the referee,
Yes, we are not
and
going to.
we're not going to do that. So Kremer had a yellow card, and he had to leave the field for 10 minutes, and that's the moment when you make it or you break it. That's the thing with rugby. Like, that's the thing with a team. Okay, you have one out. What do you do? What will you do? And they score a try. They say, okay, let's keep pushing. We can do this. And I think that's the moment when the game just opened for Jaguares.
Yes, I think they all during the whole game, especially in the first part, they knew what they had to do. They just needed to sync up correctly and not to rush into things. And I think that the second half they took it just a step slower and started to syncing up just the way they should. And the yellow card just made them kind of focus more. I think it was a moment they just focused. Okay, we have to make this happen. We have to stop fooling around and let's make this happen. And they started kind of connecting correctly and playing better rugby than the Lions. And
seeing some beautiful things of Domingo Miotti. I think Mingo had a really good game.
Yes.
Tute Moroni doing what he does best and playing at his best, taking advantage and going forward and just going and doing everything for the team.
But another important thing about the second half is that they improved the defense. Although
Yes.
the first half was a good defense, they improved it. They committed less penalties, which was important. And I think that's where you see that they stopped rushing into things. They just focus on what they had to do. They had the patience to make the tackles and to form the line and to wait until they had the opportunity, and that's what they did. And that was a huge improvement from the first half.
And I think Kremer was one of the main important players in that part.
Yes, I
in the
think
defense.
if it wasn't for the yellow card, he would have a perfect game, and he kind of tackled, I think, 16 tackles on the whole game. It was a massive.
He was there. He was there.
Yeah, he was everywhere.
Tackling every player.
He was.
You see something happening, and Kremer was there. So I think he was one of the best in Jaguares.
And for what I read, from what I hear, because we didn't check the stats, Jaguares had a 91% tackling. 91 tackling percent in the performance. So it's a amazing performance in tackling wise.
So they finally opened the game and they scored five tries. The final result was 38-8.
Yes. But one
We have bonus point, which
Yes.
is important because we are the only team on this round that have.
No. Crusaders and
Oh,
Stormers.
Crusaders and Stormers had two.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry.
But we need to talk about the replacements because
Oh yeah.
that's a big difference that Jaguares had with the Lions, and that last season was very important for Jaguares against other teams. Is that Jaguares has a very strong team squad overall.
Yes.
We still don't have to see the really new players, but overall it has a very strong squad. So when the replacements come in,
Yeah.
the level of the team doesn't go down.
Well,
the performance stays up.
For example, you have Agustín Grevy replacing Julián Montoya, and you have Juan María he was injured, he had a concussion,
Yes.
and he had to leave, and the guy just going into field was Matías Orlando,
Who was starting 13 last season.
Yeah, so
But that's an important thing from what happened last year, because last year, although we had a good bench, there were certain places where we didn't have that good a replacement.
yes. Well, what happened with Tito Díaz Bonilla? Tito
Exactly.
Bonilla left the game in minute 2, and Mingo came and he just kept the level up.
Yes, exactly. It was like we didn't lose again, and that's good. And it's going to be good for this type of tournament, which has so much traveling that you need to rest your players. So having a second option for certain roles where you know that both players are at the same level, that's really good for the team and for the performance. Last year, if Jero de la Fuente, the captain, number 12, got injured, we really didn't have anyone to replace him in that role. Specifically in that role, and now we have one of the reasons. It's Malia. One of the reasons why Moroni was used as a winger was because we didn't have that many replacement at winger, and now we do. So he can focus on playing second outside center. So in case the starting centers that usually are De La Fuente and Orlando they're rotated out for because of injury or giving them rest, we have a second pair of centers, Malia and Moroni, that they're shown that they can play and they're at that level. They are at par with the rest. And the same happens with the forward. So I think that's a good thing for the squad, that we have a certain depth on a level of the squad that's going to be good for the tournament, it's going to be good for us and in the long run.
And I think in the end that was the main difference with Lions. Lions didn't have a good bench, and you saw that because on the second half they didn't score any points at all, and that's I think the main reason, because they didn't have any replacements or any very trained replacements like we did. So we made a difference.
Yes, that was a big difference. We can talk now, go on, and we're going to talk about what there was an interview after the game with the head coach by the local TV, and he had some things to say, and we're going to talk about that.
He said it was definitely a better performance than last year's first game. He was very happy about it. He was surprised about some things he saw in the game that they've been training, but he was surprised to see it happening in the first game, because there are things they are just starting to try and to see and to put in the play in the game, and he saw that happening already in the first game, so he was really surprised and very glad to see that.
Especially the way the decision maker the team had, that he saw that although all the things, the new things they're trying and training for this year to bring into what they did last year, and he didn't expect, right, as Flora said, he didn't expect them to be able to make them on the first game, but he was also surprised at the decision maker, knowing when to attack, when to go on the centers, when to open the ball, when to kick up, when to go make a cut through the line with a special kind of a running way, or just not frontal but in a kind of a sideways. So those kind of decision makings, or when to go around the racks or stuff like that, that he was surprised of that decision, but that the team was mature at this point of the first game to identify where they had to attack the lines and how to change the attacking roles or attacking sequences, and well, that's great.
And he was also very happy with the performance of the new players coming into the squad. like Lucas Paulos or Juanchi Malia or Carreras or Mingo Miotti. I think Gorrison had a really good game also.
Really good game.
We have Gorrison replacing Matera and Lucas Paulos replacing Lavanini, and they both did.
They did a good job. They performed. They did their job, and that's the thing. These players, they were not new because they played last season, a couple of minutes or a couple of games, but they're not that. They don't have that much experience.
Yes.
But they came into a team as a starting squad, and they didn't disappoint. They were on par with the rest of the game. They were not weak links on the team, and that's great because that's what they were looking for, right?
Yes.
We had big names leaving, as we talked before, like the three that we mentioned that were Lavanini, Matera, and Moyano. And this first game, we didn't miss them.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like we are missing. Well, we don't have the strengths in the game. No, they were playing on par.
Sclavi as well. I think the three new. I think Juanchi Malia also. I think that the better things that we saw working and new players working were Juanchi Malia, Gorrison, Paulos, and we saw Joel Sclavi in the second half.
Yes.
He's a new player. He didn't play Super Rugby, or he didn't play before against the South African, New Zealanders or Australian. So that for him is very new. And everything we saw and we heard and we read talk about how well he did also, like very good. So we're very happy.
Yes.
And of course Quesada is very happy.
Quesada is very happy too. But talking about Sclavi, he's really good at scrummaging. We saw that in the second half. As a number 3, he's very good. It's a tough position, and he showed he's good. There's something we're missing. We're struggling in scrummaging, and this is a good thing. What the coach said is that since he doesn't have that much experience in Super Rugby, none. This is the first game. He's a 63rd player to start for Jaguares, and he's gonna take him a little bit longer to get the rhythm of Super Rugby and the rhythm that Super Rugby has on the open.
Yeah,
he's
a scrummaging specialist.
Yes,
but he needs to train the rest of the type of the game.
The open play game,
yes.
Which is what Super Rugby is all about, right? Having that speed, that open game, and he's a little bit behind from the rest of the front rowers of the squad. In the squad, yeah, exactly.
So to wrap up,
yes,
we thought while we've been talking, the new players had a really good first start. There wasn't any difference between the bench and the first players that came to the game, and we have a really very level up squad now.
Yes, they're on par. That's kind of
so next game will be,
I can say, Hurricanes.
Yeah, next Saturday, same time, 8 p.m. I'm not going to be there because I'm going on holidays alone. Pato will be there.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be left alone. So I think she's going to still be here for the preview video, but the rubber video on the game, I'm going to be alone.
I will see the game in an airport, waiting for a plane to catch. So Pato will talk all about it, but we have very good hopes. And
yes, the squad is performing. The coaches are happy, or they are cool-headed. They are level, and the team is kind of cool-headed, and they're going
and still focusing on the first 8.
Yes, and the focus on the first 8 games. That's before the game off, but they're still going one game at a time, and they're not running wild speculations going, well, we can run on. They're focusing on what they have to do.
Yes.
And the Hurricanes is a New Zealand team. They've been
Yes.
the Stormers, that doesn't mean
They
they're a
will
bad
try
game.
to.
Of course, they're gonna be tough. They're
Yeah.
gonna be tough, and this is a tough tournament. No game is easy,
Yeah.
and we love them.
Okay.
So what we expect, we're gonna expect a good game and a tough game.
So follow us in our social media. That's somewhere down
They're
there.
gonna be right there.
And we are going to see in the next video, probably talking about the Jaguares lineup for a Hurricanes game.
Yes.
So see you in the next video. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.